Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, the state's economic health is continuing to bounce back after COVID, with Tasmania's bank balance looking fuller than first thought. To explain more, our reporter Sean McComish joins us now. Sean, what is the continuing financial impact of the pandemic?
Well, good evening, Kim. There's no doubt coronavirus will have a long-term effect on our state, but it's not as bad as predicted. Treasury this afternoon released its pre-election financial outlook ahead of Tasmanians heading to the polls in just 18 days. The report confirms we're expected to be around $225 million in debt this year. And while that is a lot, it's actually better than the original predictions. It also says ongoing threats to Tasmania continue to be JobKeeper ending and no international travel. Now, those figures are better mainly because of GST receipts and a lack of infrastructure spending.
They will underdeliver their infrastructure budget this year by over $600 million. What that means is Tasmanians won't get roofs over their heads, our health system and hospital system will still be in crisis, and Tasmanians will be stuck in traffic.
Our economy is up, state final demand is up, employment is up, participation is even up, and what is going down is unemployment.
It comes as the major parties battled again in Braddon on the campaign trail. The Liberals pitched a $10 million package to woo over West Coasters, while Labor made a major commitment to help a hospital recover. A year ago, Burnie's major hospital was COVID ground zero. Today, Labor was out the front, hoping to gain ground on the campaign trail.
$23.4 million to employ 25 more nursing staff, 12 specialist doctors here at the Northwest Regional Hospital.
As well as pledging a new mental health centre.
Now, this is a $67.5 million commitment that will be fully staffed.
And a plan to tackle the suicide rate.
A statutory authority, a suicide prevention commission that unbiased can address the issues.
The Nurses Union wants more than new buildings and beds. It says hospitals are plagued by vacancies.
We already have a significant gap with just shy of 400 full-time equivalents of nurses and midwives across our existing health services.
Elsewhere, the Liberal campaign sailed into Strawn. Peter Gutwin promising a $10 million package for the West Coast, including cash for the Strawn waterfront.
I'd like to think it will be perhaps the Darling Harbour of Tasmania.
There's $3.5 million for mining, $2 million for Queenstown's hospital and ambulance services.
We'll be providing an additional 2 paramedics here on top of the 6 that are currently based here.
As well as $500,000 in cash for the Unconformity Festival.
This is one of those festivals that's a little bit quirky, a little bit different, but speaks very loudly.
This year's festival has had its challenges, like every single event, like around the world really. Festivals are working in a fairly high-risk sort of environment.
Tougher gun laws are in the sights of the Greens. It wants to bring regulations in line with national agreements.
The threat of firearm use is a factor in family violence in Tasmania.
We still need to try and minimise the use of guns being stolen and used in crimes.
Meanwhile, the candidate headaches have continued. A campaign manager for Bass Liberal hopeful Lara Alexander has attacked the party for not allowing her to speak to the media.
I think they think that by controlling the candidates it can actually control a message, but that is a poor reflection of their opinion of voters in the electorate.
Oh, well, we don't gag anyone, let me be clear, but what we do is we have spokespeople for different policy announcements.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Police Association says 70 extra officers are needed to deal with spiralling crime and increasingly complex investigations. It's calling on the major parties to commit to lifting police numbers this election. The association wants to see the force strengthened in Launceston to tackle serious crimes.
So we're looking at serious organised crime investigators, surveillance team, electronic crime, fraud. That's the sort of things we need to bolster to look after the north and the northwest of the state.
107 officers are currently on open workers' compensation. Wild weather in Tasmania has led to a busy night for rescue crews. First responders helped a man in his 20s after he fell down a cliff near Wynyard. A helicopter was also sent to rescue a group of walkers separated on the Eldon Range near Lake St Clair and a 17-year-old on the overland track. The Bureau of Meteorology says strong winds will continue tonight, with gusts of up to 100 kilometres an hour expected in most areas. An Australian icebreaker that caught alight in icy Antarctic waters has arrived safely in Fremantle this afternoon. The MPV Everest and its crew ran into trouble last week when a fire broke out in the vessel's engine room. The Maritime Union of Australia says the federal government's response should have been quicker, accusing the Australian Antarctic Division of lacking an effective contingency plan. Federal Group has hired experts to investigate a cyber attack which shut down gaming machines at two venues over the Easter long weekend. The company says the immediate incident, which involved ransomware, has now been contained. The Australian Cyber Security Centre is coordinating with police to investigate how the hack occurred. A prized parcel of underutilised CBD space is set to be rejuvenated into a double-storey entertainment precinct in Launceston. The $6 million pitch to energise the local nightlife will also draw inspiration from Melbourne's famed laneway culture.
A transformation from this to this, a vibrant entertainment precinct complete with wine bars, retail shops, office space and restaurants.
We've got pretty much a major makeover of the site. It has been dormant for some years.
This is far from just a vision for Launceston CBD. It's on track to become a reality before the end of the year.
Our goal is to really bring some vibrancy back to this space.
Developers embarking on the $6 million redevelopment of the Tatler Arcade, previously the home of the local cinema, but for years has been inactive. The centrepiece of the area's rebirth, huge laneway art.
It's something that doesn't really exist in Launceston, but we think is something that will bring people back to the city centre.
Though delays to the relocation of the nearby Metro bus terminal may prove a hurdle, the project's finer details are yet to receive Council's final tick of approval, but overall it's gaining support.
We welcome private investment that beautifies, enhances and expands the offering in our CBD.
Construction is expected to be completed by September this year. The developers are now searching for 6 new tenants to occupy this space.
Business confidence is up, and importantly, we note that a number of new shops are opening in our CBD.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
They drive under a banner of broken, never beaten, and have a purpose as powerful as the engine's roar. Tonight we meet the All-Tasmanian Speedway team run by military veterans who have chosen the battlefield of the racetrack to heal old scars.
They're brothers in arms committed to a common cause, fighting an invisible enemy with machines boasting horsepower over firepower.
For me, it's been the best therapy there is.
Aaron Wilton served in Iraq, but the demons of active service followed. He found Motorsport to be the best extinguisher.
There's a lot of traditional sort of programs and initiatives out there to help veterans, but I personally found that it wasn't working for me, and once I got involved in motorsport, I really found my calling.
Aaron's new team, Zero Alpha, is now a prominent part of the Speedway circuit. Fellow veteran Jace White has joined the team, with the pair finding post-service purpose in the garage.
As soon as you roll out onto a racetrack, everything goes away. It's your mind's clear and you're completely focused on one job.
Even an on-track rival is part of the family, with the team offering Gulf War veteran Danny John a car.
The opportunity that Aaron's given me for this has brought me forward in life in leaps and bounds. It's given me something to focus on, something to really get into and enjoy.
It's now adorned with military allegiances. Even the ode rumbles during the ride.
The adrenaline rush you get from racing is phenomenal. I can't sleep for hours after I come home, and it gets all my kids are involved, and gets everyone involved. It's great.
Other veterans who want to be involved with the team are welcomed with open arms.
It's sort of like a little mental holiday every time you're out on the track.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
As drought becomes more common in the Tasmanian landscape, a new research hub could transform the way farmers prepare for natural disaster. Launched by the University of Tasmania, the program will bring together researchers, primary producers and community groups to improve drought resilience.
We're actually going to spend a lot of time with them defining what the problems are. So therefore we can say, well, where do we need to go? So we might do some case studies on the East Coast, in the Midlands, but we're not being prescriptive at this point.
We need to make sure that the work being done here is what is needed by farmers in Tasmania, specific to their conditions.
The federal government has poured $8 million into the national program, which includes 8 hubs across Australia. Launceston gamers are set to join the high-profile and growing ranks of Esports, with a free new local tournament to kick off Youth Week next month. Local fans say the popularity of team-based esports gaming is growing.
They can be sitting next to their 5 best friends and play the same game. So it's the social aspect that really appeals to most people.
But there's no prize money for this esports tournament, unlike other lucrative competitions around the world.
To hockey, Diamondbacks have lifted themselves off the canvas, breaking a 12-game losing streak against University. The 2-1 win for the men's side was aided by some strong work in the goal by Grant Woodcock.
It was a good boost of confidence for us this year, something that we, should have got a little bit earlier in the season.
The club's women's side was missing its goalkeeper and a key defender, but Phillida Bridley managed to find the back of the net to seal a 2-1 win.
It was very close at the very end of the game, so it was good to get the win, but yeah, we definitely could have put a few more away.
Northwest Grads also had a win in the women's, while the undefeated OHA was held to a 0-0 draw with Canterbury. Meanwhile, Tasmania's girls side has overrun the Northern Territory 2-0 in the Under-18 National Hockey Championships. Goals within the first 10 minutes of play set up the victory for the home side. The result lifts Tasmania to 3rd in its pool, but the side has missed out on a shot at a medal on goal difference. While the state's boys team held Victoria to a 0-0 draw at St Leonard's, Tasmania finishing 4th in its pool with 1 win and a draw from its 5 games. The finals will be played on Thursday. Tasmania's $1 million IPL man Riley Meredith has produced figures of 1 for 49 in his first game for the Punjab Kings. The paceman's opening over was expensive, conceding 18 runs, but the Hobart Hurricane broke through late in the innings.
Next gone, there's a good start. That'll do. Dot ball and a wicket.
The Kings went on to beat the Rajasthan Royals by 4 runs. NBL action returns to Tasmania in less than an hour. The state's adopted team for the time being, the New Zealand Breakers, warmed up at the Silverdome this morning. The side is playing at least 4 games in Launceston at this stage. It's a big night for Auckland's Tom Abercrombie, who's playing his 350th game.
We've just got to find a way to get over that line a little bit. We've come close, we're fighting hard, but at the end of the day that's not enough in this league. We've got to find a way to reach that extra gear and try and finish some of these games off, and hopefully we can do that tonight.
The Breakers have their work cut out. The side placed second bottom is up against the red-hot Perth Wildcats. The Barry Richardson Memorial Grass Track Series came to Calder in the state's northwest, with a rainbow backdrop greeting more than 200 competitors throughout the day. Kyron Bacon had the perfect lead-in to the Australian Off-Road Championships, claiming King of the Paddock honours. Jonty Reiners and Dalton Johnson rounded out the podium. Tasmanian distance runner Luke Palmer has produced a gut-running effort to take gold at the National Track and Field Championships in Sydney. Palmer burst past the leader on the final straight to clinch victory in the 3,000 metres.
He moves past White. He's waited perfectly and he's going to come down and take a great victory.
He finished with a time of 9 minutes 13 seconds.
Good evening. Friendly beaches our high today with 19 degrees. Hobart and Devonport 17, Launceston 18 and Burnie 16. Lyawini kicked us off with a -2 this morning as all temperatures stay below average. Some patchy morning valley fog and a few showers over the north. Flinders Island and St Helens 18, King Island, Smithton and Lowhead 17, Ouse and Strawn highs of 16 today. Plenty of cloud today getting right across the state. It's all part of that larger band of cloud that pushes away back through Victoria over South and Western Australia. More cloud spirals around a low over the Southern Ocean. Tomorrow, the cold front crosses the state in the morning, allowing some big, strong and gusty cold westerly winds to blow in. A trough extends through Central Australia, a high shifts over WA. So the 35 to 40 knot northwesterlies will shift more westerly during the morning tomorrow and push up to 45 knots. That'll be over the south in particular, swells picking up to 6 metres. A severe weather warning has been issued for damaging winds for most of the state. There's a gale warning from Stanley to Sandy Cape. However, in the bit between Wineglass Bay and Tasman Island, it's a strong wind warning, as it is also over the far northwest. A gale warning in place also for the southwest lakes. Hobart tomorrow, Windy, of course, a shower or two and 19. 18 the top for Geeston, showery and very windy. And Bothwell, showers and windy, 16 degrees. 19 for Launceston, showers easing. Devonport 17, 19 the top for Cressy. Burnie expecting a high of 17, a showery windy day. Strawn 16 and 18 for Curry. And for the east tomorrow, 19 for St Helens, morning showers, a windy afternoon. Swansea 20 and 19 the top for Orford. On Thursday, partly cloudy and cool, of course. Snow to 800 metres and a shower over the west, central and south. Another shower over the west on Friday, partly cloudy for the rest of the state. And on Saturday, a few showers through Bass Strait and the west coast. Sunny and 20 for St Helens. Mostly sunny and 22 in Perth tomorrow. Showers in Adelaide and Melbourne. Partly cloudy and 29 in Sydney. A sunny day in Brisbane. Showery in Hobart at the moment, 16, mostly cloudy in Launceston, 14 currently and 16 in Devonport. A strange day tomorrow, Kim, but isn't the weather fascinating?
Fascinating, but I'm not so impressed with it this week. Thanks, Murph. That's all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us this evening. Good night.